What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another solo episode of Class Horrorcast, I guess you could call it. Um, I haven't done these in a long time. I kind of just like fell out of the I guess the whole thing of doing videos like this solo and whatever. But I saw a movie last night that I was like super compelled to make a video to do this again. And that movie, if you haven't already guessed, obviously by the title of the video or the thumbnail and stuff, is the first Omen. So if you guys are wondering why I'm looking down here, I have like a shit ton of notes that I'm going to kind of run through. So yeah, I this for me fell completely under the radar. I didn't really pay any attention to it, and a lot of that I think came from being skeptical, I guess, about touching a near 50-year-old franchise. I just don't know, what doing a prequel to a movie that's nearly 50 years old now could have really added to that franchise, if that makes sense. I was shocked. Look, I go to see every horror movie that comes to the theater. I'll always support horror regardless of like my feelings, I guess. Now when I come out, I may have a different opinion, but I always go to see movies at the theater as much as possible. This movie completely shocked me, and in a good way, in a really good way, actually. Um, I do also have a an article posted to my website, which is www.classhorrorcast.com. You guys will see it over here on the bottom little tab. Make sure to check that out. I referenced this movie as a modern day horror masterpiece, which is, and I'll explain why. I know some people are probably still skeptical, but I will get into that now very shortly. Okay, so with a release date of April 5th, 2024, this movie serves as a prequel to the original Omen movie. We follow a young American woman who is sent to Rome to begin a life of service to the church, but encounters a darkness that causes her to question her faith and uncovers a terrifying conspiracy that hopes to bring about the birth of evil incarnate. Again, seems like a kind of a generic plot line, but it really, I'll explain as well. And for you guys going forward, if you have not seen the movie, I will be talking about several really major spoilers. So, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie yet or you don't want the plot ruined for you, then switch this video off immediately. So, movie is directed by Arkasha Stevenson, who co-wrote the screenplay with Tim Smith, Keith Thomas, based on a story by Ben Jacoby, I think it is. Um, Again, for Arkasha, um, incredible, really, that this was like first time out as like a director of like a huge feature film like this. I'll get into some more of that in a while. I had seen some early reviews actually that had mentioned the runtime drags a bit, but I thought coming in just right under that 2 hour mark, I thought that was perfect. This is coming from someone who doesn't like longer movies, but I personally felt like that amount of time was needed to fill the amount of story and like exposition that was in there. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't have made sense that way. And this is coming from someone who loves like a tight 80-minute, 90-minute movie at most. Like I can't stand when a movie is like so long. So that's not like me loving longer movies or anything. I genuinely just think it really served its purpose here. As I said, going forward from this point, there's going to be a lot of spoilers. So if you've yet to see the movie, please be aware of that so I don't get shit online. So the year is 1971 and the city of Rome is overrun by protests. Driving through the city, Margaret asks her mentor, Cardinal Lawrence, played by Bill Nighy, about the turmoil. He responds with, for the workers, it's about conditions and wages, and for the students, it's about a rejection of authority. Which I thought this was a really unique, um, like plot point to have in there. Um, I thought that was really interesting, and you'll see why as we move forward. But from this, it's explained that the church is among those institutions in which these young people have lost faith or trust in. The film does a great job of cutting between the chaos in the city and, I guess, seeing the chaos and the turmoil that's going on in Margaret's head. We aren't sure if the visions are part of something or tie into previous apparent mental health issues that she has there's alluded to. She's dealt with several different mental health issues and stuff like that. So we're not really sure if what we're seeing is real or it's just all part of her apparent delusion. She becomes somewhat fascinated by a girl in the orphanage called Carlita. She seems quiet, odd, and withdrawn, unable to play with others, and is often sent to the bad room by the other nuns in the orphanage, which is something that becomes quite, like, I guess, alarming for Margaret. She's not really sure of who or like why that's a thing. She can't understand why there's even a bad room. She sees similarities, obviously, between herself and the child and attempts to bond with her over stuff like that. Then we're introduced again to the rogue priest that we see in the opening sequence, Father Brennan, who explains that Carlita is marked by the sign of the beast and that he believes that she has been bred by the church to give birth to the Antichrist. Which again, now we're starting to see maybe immaculate esque storyline, but this is like so much better and so much more well thought out, in my opinion. For me, horror is all about loss of control, feelings of helplessness, and that really spills from the characters in this to us as an audience, which I think is fantastic. The film serves that up in a multitude of ways, from figures lurking in the shadows to horrific slimy claws tearing across soft and delicate female bodies. The movie has an incredible blend of jump scares, which are few and far between, but actually very, very clever, and then a deeper, kind of longer lasting sense of terror and dread that comes from the incredible backstory and, in my opinion, haunting visuals, like terrifying visuals in there. Um, Aspects of the movie may play similar to Immaculate. However, this movie does it so much better, as I mentioned before. The fact that this was co-written and directed by um, Arkesha Stevenson in her debut feature is, for me, is like the most astounding thing I think I've ever seen. The art direction, the filming locations, you could tell they were all carefully crafted to match the stunning cinematography. It really does an amazing job to give that 70s feel with the costume design, visuals, and sound. The use of practical effects I thought were fantastic and a welcome change from the slew of movies that default to CGI. We come to find out that this section of the church are attempting to birth the Antichrist to help restore faith in the church once again. So, I guess the idea here is we have this section of the church that is looking to, I suppose, create a villain, create a bad guy that they can fight against so people will come back to the church and start to put their trust and faith back in the church again. And you guessed it, Margaret is the one who will birth the creature. I can't state how this whole film feels like some haunting fever dream. The visuals of someone giving birth to a creature claw. And yes, you actually get to see it. I know they had some issues with the MPAA about that scene, but I'm interested to see, do we get an uncut version on the Blu-ray? Because it's quite graphic as it is. To finally getting to see Damien taken from his mother's womb, which I thought was an extremely distressing scene. I can't overstate, like, into words how haunting and eerie this film is from start to finish. It's so unsettling. It's unbelievable. And this is coming from like a seasoned veteran of horror. So from like slashers to, psychological thrillers to supernatural. I love them all, and I've seen so many movies, and it's very hard for me to get like any sort of real reaction. Where this movie, I even the two or three jump scares, like, really got me. Like pins and needles all over. It was like incredible. I don't know what this shit is, guys. For anyone that's wondering, it just keeps showing up on my camera. I don't know what that's about. Uh, Very rarely though does a movie leave me like unsettled once the lights come back on and I leave the cinema. But this movie is just something else. It's incredible. It avoids as well most of those overused tropes that we've come to expect. Another modern horror, much like Late Night with the Devil, that captures the 1970s perfectly. Now, I would rate this better than Late Night with the Devil, in my opinion. This movie feels like, I suppose, Friedkin, Kubrick, Fulci, Argento mixed together to make a prequel to a film that is almost 50 years old and manages to create something to fear as the tagline suggests. This really is what horror cinema is all about. The Antichrist has well and truly been born again in 2024. That's just my thoughts, guys, that I had written down. I just wanted to put out this small video for you all. Let me know what you guys think. Have you seen the movie? Are you excited to see the movie? Did you hear what I have to say about it? Change your mind one way or the other. I hope everybody's well. Make sure to check out the website. It's back up again, www.classhorrorcast.com. I thank everyone for the support. Make sure you like, share, rate, and review. And yeah, I'll see you guys all real soon. Peace.